There is a lot of information out there. In principle, what we talk about is very simple. In application, it can become complex because human beings are complex organisms. Society is a social, complex organism. So try to orient people to where can they find information in an easy fashion that would help you understand this stuff on your own. Okay, here we go. Navigating the virtual world of the Zeitgeist movement. I threw this together today because I didn't have a lot of time, but hopefully this will all work. You're my test audience, so bear with me. There's a lot of information scattered all over the place. We have created a few resources that are great go-to areas online to find out about the movement. Today I'm going to touch on the movement as a network of communication, our websites, what chapters are, and the resources that you can go and get, because most of our material we provide for free. It's all done through volunteer contribution. And hopefully this will get you pointed in the right direction. It can be overwhelming to take all this information in at the same time. You might have just seen one of the films. You might have seen a couple of Peter's lectures or some of the lectures from our Z-Day events over the past 3 years. It takes time to absorb this stuff. I don't know about you, but I've watched a lot of this material over and over and over again because it's so dense. And I want for myself to be able to communicate this stuff as easily as possible to people that have never heard of it before. So you're breaking down the barriers to their understanding. And also, as far as our chapter communication structure, there's a lot of noise out there. I mean, there's a lot of criticism. You know, people project into the movement. We're Marxists, we're cultists, we're Satanists, we're anti-something or other. You know, it's difficult sometimes because you're meaning to explain to someone how this world could be technically different altogether. Technically we could abolish scarcity in most forms that we are used to it today. But it's not done. So it's not that it's not technically possible, it's that we are not oriented with our values to think in this way. You're going to come up against a lot of resistance. Usually you get the same 10 to 20 questions, you know, probably along the same sort of objections when someone first had the idea of going to the moon. You know, that was impossible, that will never happen. Desegregation, that's impossible, that will never happen. You know, there's been plenty of giant social movements with critique and angst projected onto the people that wanted to make a difference, saying it was impossible. So, anyway, I'm going to move forward. So the first place to start is thezeitgeistmovement.com. If you've never been, don't raise your hand, because they'll throw tomatoes at you. No. It was redesigned last year to be a lot more comprehensive. Again, this was all done through volunteer effort, and our first shot at doing a website was not that user-friendly, and it was a little clunky, but we've gotten better. So we've had some people who want to contribute their time. And I just want to go through this real quick because this looks nice and clean and simple. And when I actually sat down and looked at the website today, I realized this is super dense. There's actually more information here than I anticipated. So things like the main menu, there's a place to sign up for the mailing list, there are main articles, there's the news feeds, there are educational resources, there's a social network, there are in the blue, all the related websites that are directly connected to the TZM as a whole, along with a little news feed on Collapse Watch. It's like this is actually following some of the news stories that come out on the slow decay, the breakdown of society. So there's a lot of information here. I want to just go down and touch on, in this blue area on the right, the related websites, because this is a great launching ground for finding all the information that's pertinent. I wanted to express this, to use this as a filter. When you're out there in the world, there's a lot of websites, there's a lot of critique, there's a lot of hate blogs and you're crazy kind of websites. We want to navigate through all of that noise. And so I'll just touch on these quickly. This is our blog site. Anyone that wishes to write an article that's related to the movement is welcome to submit. There is a submission process. But if you have a news article, a personal piece of prose, something that personal experience with talking to people on the street, you're welcome to write a story here. And this is getting a lot of attention now. So There's a little how-to guide right here. Brings you through the steps, basically, how to format your article and submit it. And more than likely, if you're related in some fashion, it'll get published and it'll get a lot of views. So that's something you could do in your spare time if you have it. So, the next site I wanted to point to, which is sourced from our global site, is the Media Project. This is an incredible resource. I am so happy this site exists. These are creative artists, graphic designers, people who do video, people who write music, people that write prose, all over the world come and they can submit under the Creative Commons license. Media here that we can all use. We can go through, these are screenshots, so I actually can't navigate this in front of you, but there's hundreds of graphic designs that are available for someone. So you don't have to be a graphic designer. If you want to have a visual that expresses something about the zeitgeist movement or a train of thought to another person, you can just grab something from here, print it up, and use it. And the visuals are, a lot of them, I find them quite useful, and I use them a lot myself, even with the websites that we're going to get into here in a moment. So music, if you are an artist, if you're a musician, or you write, or you do video, you can submit here, and I know Ryan, I recognize your style anywhere now. He's prolific, I like to say. So, the next site is our Z-Day Global site. We do an annual event day globally, once a year. We have a few different global events throughout the year now. The Z-Day, Zeitgeist Day, was originally our first global awareness effort, where these dots represent events that happened all on the same weekend, all around the world, advocating this train of thought to the public. This is all volunteer. This is all out of pure interest of people wanting to reach out and talk to others. The events range from formal to casual. We actually had our Z-Day event was it downstairs? No, it was a different campus, different building on our campus here. And is Sean here tonight? Not here. Oh, he's not here. Oh, sorry, USC Sean, I call him. He's the one that found us and started a student organization, which is why we have a banner that says University of Southern California on it. And they got in touch with Brandon, and they got in touch with me, and now we have a place to actually talk to you, which is great. We created an arts and music festival called the Media Festival. We had our first one at the Music Box in Hollywood last year in September. And this is a list of media festivals. This one is, instead of being intellectual, it's arts-based, it's music-based. It's trying to affect social value through artistic expression. So it's a much different event than the more lecture presentation styles that you might see online. And we are in the process of planning the next one this year. Hopefully we'll find a venue soon. Oh yeah, there we go. Now, for anyone who's technically inclined, enjoy reading about technology, and if you really want to find out the possibilities that are out there that are too expensive to implement, Zeit News is a technology-based site. I'm just going to read a little blurb here. I pulled off the site today. It says, zeitnews.org is a science-oriented website dedicated, obviously, to technology news. The site's aim is to inform as many people as possible about the current advancements and capabilities of science and technology. Technology is rapidly developing, faster than many of us realize, and the hope is to provide a clear picture of just how quickly this is happening through daily reporting of developments and breakthroughs around the world. It is our intention to show that our current technological development is far more advanced than the majority of humans currently realize. By raising awareness of emerging technologies that can free humans from unnecessary work, while practically and efficiently providing for all with minimal, if any, human effort, we hope to build a global understanding of how this technology can improve everyday life for the world's population, making the human species much more likely to achieve its productive and innovative potential. This is one of my favorite sites. I actually have this in my newsfeed because I'm always stunned at the stuff that's coming through here that we can actually do right now that I didn't know about. So, moving on. The global radio, we have an internet-based radio show that we syndicate out worldwide. It's through the website called blogtalkradio.com, and the channel is called ZM Global. We do our best to keep this a weekly program. We have advocates and coordinators. I've done a couple of these myself, along with having Brandon and Yvonne to speak about different aspects of our socioeconomic system, the strain that it's putting on human beings, and how we could actually orient our values differently in a collaborative way to transition out of a monetary paradigm into a resource-based paradigm. So blogtalkradio.com, this will all come together because everything I'm sharing you right now, if you go to our global website, it's bam, 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 it's all right there. And there is a history of content on this. Now, Peter started this 3 years ago? Okay. And the first 2 years, when we had a forum on the global site, we had a thread where you just invite all of that noise and attack and critique. Everyone would ask your questions, give it your best shot, you know. Ask us the question that will make all of this not work. And Peter spent 2 years just going through all of the objections and the questions one at a time on the Blog Talk Radio show. And, oh, you know what? I'm going to use this little toy. Okay. Right there is the iTunes feed. If you have an iPod or an iPad or a tablet and you use iTunes, you can download the entire history of this show from the past 3 years into one little file on your iPod. And when I'm stuck in LA traffic like I was today, that's what I listen to rather than the commercial radio. So, yeah?
Where can I find that thread of all the objections?
Well, no, it's in aggregate. There's like 200 shows, or 67 or 70 shows. And during the first 2 years, they're all dated, you'll see when you go there. You can actually, the way this is laid out, it'll just scroll forever with all the different radio shows, but you can download them one at a time. You can listen to them through the site, or more efficiently, grab that little iTunes feed right there and just jam them all into your iPod or iPad or whatever it is that you use. And they're small files because they're MP3s, and it's some of the best content. Because I've tried to dig up other podcasts, like free podcasts, and it's hard for me to find something that has as much useful, enjoyable content as this radio show. So. And that is not shameless self-promotion. Now is probably a good time to take a quick look at the YouTube channel. Coming back to the global site, we have our social networking icons there, just as every other organization and company in the bloody world, which, you know, it's like, you can only, how many things do you really want to like? But anyway, that takes you through to our YouTube channel, which again, similar to the Blog Talk Radio show, this is all done via contribution of volunteers that are taking their time to express this stuff out to you guys. And this year, at our Z-Day events, we had more people step up and present for the first time, like just people out of the public come up and do something like this. And just talk to people and have the courage to do it and take the focus. And this isn't just about one person who made some films and trying to, like, there's no real leader as far as his train of thought. It depends on all of us. So you can see lectures, videos, most everything that we've done is on this channel. And if you go to YouTube, if you go to the search bar, which is in my screenshot, you just type in TZM official channel, you'll find everything right there. And it's keeps you entertained for hours. I actually have my laptop hooked up to my TV just like I'm doing here. And this is how I get my news and watch my video and so forth. So, jumping back to the home global site, how would you find a chapter near you? This is a Los Angeles chapter awareness event. And there are chapters all over the world. If you click chapters, you'll see this page on our main website, and most regions, well, many regions in the world, let's just say that, are represented here. Now, not all of them are active chapters. And there is an email address that I totally forgot to include here, called chapters@thezeitgeistmovement.com. If you click through and someone's unresponsive, or there's a placeholder waiting for someone to volunteer, you can email your inquiry, like, I'd like to coordinate a group and do some awareness activism for the Zeitgeist movement in my region. This is the great place to start. So just taking, for example, we're in the United States. This is California. Yeah, you would just click California. And voila, there you are at the California State website. This website, while mirroring most of the attributes you see on our main, is a library of information about more state-specific of all the groups that are going on here, which are about 16 up and down the coast from San Diego all the way up, I think, as far as Humboldt County, which is way up there on top of California. Events calendar, how to get involved, the flyer for today's town hall meeting, right up there. Guides, a news stream of things that are going on. This is a great place to start if you're interested in being involved in a chapter, because we've aggregated 3 years of experience, articles, resources, how to deal with groups, how to deal with objections, how to keep people from derailing your efforts. We sort of post our experience with all this, and it turns out being a really vital tool. So this again is another place where you can, it takes a long time to take all this stuff in. But everything's provided for free out of people's wanting other people to know about this material. Here you can see a list of chapters. I don't know if you can actually see that, but from my angle it's all washed out. There's a list of chapters in California, and you could click through and find one. Most of the chapters that I list are active, and people will respond to you, and if you talk to Eva and Brandon, you'll be helping us out in no time, because we do a lot of awareness activism. Quickly, what is a chapter? You've heard me say this term a few times. I know many of you are in a chapter and know what this is. For anyone who's never heard the word as far as chapter regarding the Zeitgeist movement, they are recognized as self-motivated groups of individuals, volunteers really, that understand and advocate the tenets and solutions proposed in our materials. They're focused on on-the-ground awareness projects via coordinated group activity and social interaction. Here we have some publications, a quick start guide. If you wanted to actually have a group of your own, come talk to me. I'll hook you up with some resources, teach you how to have an events calendar, how to do your first event. I mean, there's lots of different ways to talk to people. And we also have an orientation guide as far as a written form, and I know this is getting updated, so hopefully you don't mind me talking about the old one. Okay, great. There's an 83-page PDF that is a written version of everything that you could see in video. For those of you who like to read, you want to have something that you can scribble in, notate. I've actually torn mine up and highlighted it and read it a bunch of times. The orientation guide, and bing, there it is. That's just a random graphic, but that's downloadable for free. And I threw mine in my iPad because I'm trying to use as little paper as possible, so I can still highlight and notate. But this explains pretty much everything that we talk about. I use generic terms right now, the direction we advocate, or the train of thought. Well, there's no time to get into it right now. It's just, that's referenced right there. How do we communicate when we don't live next to each other? Well, we go online. And there's a free program called TeamSpeak 3. Many of you probably have heard of this, and if not, it's actually an excellent tool. We actually jumped in on this because of the gaming world. People who play online games have to talk to each other when they do team play. And there are a couple of free programs to facilitate worldwide communications of people who like to play games together. Well, we're making use of this platform for just communicating awareness activism instead of, World of Warcraft. So, anyway, it's a free program. We have directions on all our websites where to get it, how to install it. It's cross-platform compatible. And this is where we do our meetings when we can't meet in person. And it facilitates voice chat as well as text. And if you are in the actual program, you can actually see all the other people around the world in different languages and different countries that are also meeting and they're doing similar things. Now we're going to step back to the state site. You're interested now. You've seen one of the films, or someone talked about the Venus Project, or you heard a radio show about a resource-based economic model. You'd like to get involved. You'd like to actually raise your hand and say, you know what? This makes sense to me, and we need to do something about this because I'm watching everything decline around me, and I'd like to make a difference. At that point, you'd find a chapter near you. Living in California, if you live here in Los Angeles, you come through, you click Los Angeles, and here you are at the Los Angeles website. So it's global, state, which is a larger region, local. And that's how we do it. The local websites, the local chapters are for the face-to-face stuff. I coordinate people through TeamSpeak online because I'm coordinating people who live far away from each other. They can't always come down like you guys did. So anyway, you'll find this the local sites, we do our best to have these be fun. We want this to be fun. We want you to be able to talk to other people. You want to interact, private message, have a calendar of events. Yes, I'm coming. Great. This is what we need. Please come help out. We need DVDs. We need someone to stand at the door. We need someone to help us put up the banners. We need somebody who knows how to do all of this. So there are chapter sites, and then we collect the feedback, the photographs, the videos, the social interaction, people giving you questions and maybe filming your answer. It's kind of fun the first time you do that. And face-to-face awareness activism takes on a wide range of variety. There's no one-trick pony to doing this stuff. There's radio shows, there's street talk videos, there's the town halls like this, there's our Z-Day events, there's tabling at fairs and festivals and college campuses, there's speaking with students, there's bannering in public. People love it. We did this in Hollywood on Z-Day last month, and we had, you have so many banners now. We had groups of people out there with 25-foot banners and 10-foot banners, and it was so funny to me because there was this contrast on Hollywood Boulevard of social distortion. You had all of the bling and the blitz and the signs and the Kodak Mall or whatever you call that, and all of that, the Hard Rock Cafe and just all of the monetary distortion across the street. And then we are on the other side of Hollywood Boulevard, holding up Zeitgeist Movement banners, which are basically trying to engage people with information that would make all that across the street obsolete, like just gone. And it was just funny to me, so anyway. So awareness activism, learning this stuff on your own, communicating it to other people is a creative process. And it comes down to your creativity, what your skills are, what your strengths are. Some of you might be good at radio, some of you might be good at talking to economists, some of you may be good at talking with people who are more dogmatic, let's say, that they have different barriers to understanding. And we wish to move in a cooperative and sustainable world value system. So, thank you for your time. This is one of the graphics off the Media Project website that I pointed out earlier that I use all the time now because this is just someone who is far more talented at graphic design than me letting us use their graphics. So, thank you.